What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Coaching the Culture podcast.
Moving upward, can't be boasting about these vultures. Get negativity ocean. We just coaching up the culture. This for my sisters and brothers, stepdaddies and single mothers. Every topic we gon' cover, we just coaching up the culture. Coaching the culture, 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 coaching the culture.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Coaching the Culture podcast. This is where faith, family, and sports collide. This platform is designed to help people build winning cultures in their respective spaces. Today, of course, this is another segment of the Coach and the Queen.
And the Queen.
The one, the only.
Yes.
And we are continuing our discussion on the culture of marriage. We are privileged today. And Mom, I'm going to let you introduce the guest today.
Oh, I'm honored to have them. I'm so glad they took time out of their schedule to be here with us. So we have Brandy and Jeff Stover. And I met them at church. Of course, we attend the same church. And Brandy has the opportunity to minister to the body of Christ. And I just love her pose, her zeal, her excitement. And we had talked a while back. She wrote a book, and it's Amazing Marriages. And when I saw this book, and I purchased like 10 of them because I'm into marriage and I want to help marriages, and I began to give them to people I thought could use the book. And so I knew we would have a connection. When I talked to her a while back, I said, me and you're going to do something together.
That's
and
right.
Here we are, and I'm just so glad to have Jeff and Brandy here to share their life story and to share some nuggets that God has put in them that they're going to put in the audience, as well as Melvin, MJ, and I.
That's right.
And so to my understanding, you have your own podcast and business. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I do. My business is Mishay, M-I-S-H-A-Y Enterprises. And that is basically all of my projects, all my things. So the podcast sits under that umbrella. You also have the books that I've written. Marriage is Amazing. I've also written a middle grade children's fiction book called Middle School Blues. And it's helping with that stretch that happens when you go from elementary school to middle school, because it's a big jump developmentally.
Absolutely.
And so that book is touching on that. My podcast is called Going in Grace.
Hallelujah.
And it's all about us fulfilling our purposes and plans that God has for our life, but not trying to do it in our own strength, learning how to get in our lane and go in His grace. So we look at the Word of God very practically. How do we take it, small bites, apply it to our lives, and make an impact in our lives and the lives of other people?
Awesome.
Yes.
And
So-
you forgot about Candle Bravo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We do our candle company as well.
What's it called?
Candle Bravo.
Oh, yes. My wife
Candle
talks about you.
Bravo.
She says she has the most amazing candles. Yeah, she did. She just told me that yesterday when I told her you was going to be on the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
I like candles. I like the ambiance in the home, but so many candles have a lot of things in them that you really shouldn't be breathing in.
Right.
And I thought that I was allergic to fragrances. And I found out I'm just allergic to all the extra stuff that they put in candles.
Okay.
So we started making them ourselves.
Wow. So let the people know where they can find your information, your social medias and all that stuff.
Absolutely. You can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Mishay, M-I-S-H-A-Y TV. On YouTube, my channel is also Mishay TV. And you can find my website, MishayEnterprises.com, CandleBravo.com, and then BrandyStover.com, BrandyStover.com. That's where you can find the podcast. It's available anywhere podcasts are found. So Apple, Spotify, all the places. And I look forward to connecting with you.
Awesome.
Very much so. And Brother Jeff.
Yes. I'm behind the scenes. I'm behind the camera whenever she's doing her podcast. I do editing, that kind of stuff. I make the candles. So she's the business side. I'm the actually make the candle side.
And see, so this podcast, we're talking about the culture of marriage. And so what I know as a married man is that you didn't have to say anything. I know that without you, none of it goes.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So people that know, you know,
Yeah.
it takes two, you know, and like you gotta provide the stability, you gotta provide so in whatever space it is, and that is what marriage is about, right?
Yes.
You know, blending and filling your role and knowing, you know, it's he who finds a wife finds a good thing. I think it should also say that she who finds a husband finds a, you know.
And one part about that, and obtains favor from the Lord. I never leave that part out. Like I get favored because of my good choice. So
Absolutely,
it's good
absolutely,
stuff.
absolutely.
That's right. That's right. So everything that we do, we just do it together.
Yep.
That's a big part of our culture. We very much lead a lifestyle where we are whole, both of us. And so what we've done is come together whole with God. And we've let him combine us together and help us to just complement each other and accelerate one another.
Yeah.
So there's no book that's been written that he didn't edit it, review it, give his feedback. There's no podcast that has gone out where he wasn't looking to see, hey, is something in your teeth?
Right.
Pull up your blouse. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
teamwork.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When I minister, he's right there to go back behind me and listen to what I'm ministering and just give any feedback if he has anything. We don't do these things apart. Everything we do is together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And before we get into some of the questions that we have, I do want to say this, that I think it's a blessing. I think it's amazing. I've encountered so many different couples and so many different men, right? And we can a lot of time have this macho mentality when it comes to being in relationships and things like that. But I think it shows more strength when you're able to take a step back sometimes and let the wife, hey, go ahead, babe, do what you got to do. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. I don't have to be in the forefront all the time. You know, that shows so much strength because it ain't just about physical strength. You know what I mean? It takes a lot to do that, and not only that, it does so much for the relationship in both ways. You understand?
Right.
And so even like I've had to learn when to let my wife take the lead and when to step back. You know what I mean? You just can't lead everything. So, big ups to you, big ups to y'all, and everything that you guys are doing and how it all blends well together. So I'm excited to get into this episode to help the people, to kind of, get them going in their respective relationships.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
So, Brandon, will you share with us how you guys, where you met, and how long you've been married, and just tell us a little bit about your story.
Absolutely. So we met each other at NC State University, and let me back it up. He met me my freshman year.
Okay.
We were taking a class together.
African American history class. Taught by a Hispanic guy. Dr. Ortiz.
He was awesome too.
He was awesome.
But he didn't introduce himself to me. So I say he met me.
Okay.
He saw me and noticed me. I never met or saw him or anything.
Okay.
What ends up happening is 3.5 years later, he's studying with one of my friends. They're just getting prepared for an engineering exam that they're getting ready to go into. And I come up to speak to my friend and he's there. Now I see him, and that was the first time I met him.
Okay.
And it was after that first exchange where I would say before he left, I kind of sat down with them and we had a little conversation. And before I left, he approached me right away, very respectfully, I guess the only word I can think of is like firm. Like he wasn't playing any games. He wasn't playing any games. He wasn't doing any of the hey girl. Like there was none of that.
Yeah.
He just came up to me and he said, "Would you like to go out sometime?" And I said,
we should go out.
"That is
Yeah,
what
she
Yeah,
she
knew.
I
said."
ain't asking.
He
no
said
question.
we should.
Yeah,
He
we
said
should go
we
out.
should go out sometime.
I like that.
That's right. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
So
Okay.
let me pause you right there. So question, NC State. So I'm thinking, how many people was in that U.S. history class?
There's a bunch of
It was a bunch of people.
because it was African American history. Yeah, it was,
Oh, African American history. Oh, African American. That's why you said African American. I'm sorry, I missed that. African American. So would you say? I mean, because I went to Winston State, so smaller school. So would you say 100?
it wasn't that many.
Not many.
Maybe 50?
Yeah,
50, 60? Yeah.
So my question to you, Jeff, is clearly most colleges, most classes, way more women than it is men.
Yes.
Did you? Because we be on the look, especially in college. We got that telescope out.
Right.
So was it like she walked in and you was like, oh, that's it right there? Was there a couple other ones in there that you kind of like, or was did she just stand out
I wouldn't say that she stood out because even though it was her freshman year, I'm 2 years older than her.
Okay.
So I had transferred from UNC Asheville there.
Okay.
And so I didn't know a lot of people. And so being in that class, I just remember seeing her. I remember faces. I may not know names, but I
Okay.
remember faces.
Okay.
So I never said anything to her when we was in class. I didn't let her copy off my paper. I mean, none of that stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I just remembered seeing her. So when
Okay.
I saw her again, that's when I was just like, we should probably go out.
Okay.
Well, no, ain't no problem. We should go out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, when he asked me out, we, within a week or two, went on our first date, and we went to the movie theater and the IHOP. Isn't that where we went?
Yeah, it was.
Hey, college, no money. This is how we did this.
Rudy
we
Tooty,
went-
fresh and fruity.
That's right.
At the time in Raleigh, they had like a $2 movie theater. So we
Oh,
went
yeah.
to a little inexpensive movie. Then we went to IHOP. And one of the things that really stood out to me right away was that he was a strong conversationalist. He could have a conversation. And it wasn't just a surface level conversation. I also discovered that he reads. And so that really piqued my interest. I was like, wow, he's a reader. And so we were just bouncing back and forth and talking about all different kinds of books and things like that. At this time in our life, neither one of us was walking with God. We were aware of God. We were saved, but we wasn't walking with him like that. So at this point, all we're looking at is just kind of natural attraction and general interests, compatibility, that kind of stuff.
And I showed my interest because at the end, so it was funny. We were in talking about books and stuff like that, what she was talking about. And I looked at my watch and it was like 2:00 in the morning. And I was like, oh, snap, I got to get out of here because I was working at the dorm at the front desk. I had to jazz my campus job. So I ran over there. You know, if I was like, Cinderella, I'd have dropped a glass slipper. But I ran out of there to get back to my job. And I never called her.
Never.
Didn't even call her back. Now, I was a senior. In my defense, I was a senior. I'm going through my senior design stuff, trying to get out of there. But like, I remember she called me like maybe 2-3 weeks later. She's like, check, make sure you're still alive. I'm like, nah, I'm good. You know, just trying to make sure I graduate. And like, that was it.
That was it. We did not talk after that.
Wow.
So that goes to show you how the way that it starts, that's not how it finishes. I really genuinely believe that the Lord wanted us to be introduced to one another, but neither one of us were where we needed to be of any help to each other at that time in our lives.
You're right.
We just, nice to know you, but we weren't there. He wasn't, and neither was I.
So if I'm hearing everything correctly, I don't know, you make sure you follow. This wasn't the we met in college and lived happily ever after. story. Oh, okay. I thought that's where we was going.
No.
All right.
But we were friends.
We were friends.
So
Right.
when I
Cordial.
graduated, like we would speak every 3 months. or
Every
so,
3-4
just to
months.
check in, like
How you doing? Have you found a job? How is everything going good? He was in engineering. Engineers are in school longer than basically everybody because there's all this co-oping and all this stuff they have to do to meet their graduation requirements. So even though I'm 2 years younger than him, I only graduated a semester apart from him.
Okay.
And so we would just talk periodically, how you doing, how are things going? But it was always just a cordial, not trying to really get into dating or anything like that. He had his own life. He started dating someone after college. I was dating someone that latter part of my senior year.
I think she was probably dating him first, just for the record. She
Whatever,
was
man. He
And
was
then you
dating
had to
her.
get you some.
Yeah,
just to-
yeah. So I wouldn't feel lonely.
Whatever. And so it was just one of those things where we had a lot of respect for each other. And we just saw each other. It was one of those things where it's like, I see you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it wasn't.
What do you think it was that made y'all stay in touch?
I've always wondered about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
She
don't
was just
know.
cool. So I was
That's
just
what
calling
And so
y'all
her.
come
was,
to
that's
the
what I was
play.
about to say.
Yeah.
Seriously. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Because I know I ain't talking. I mean, what we talking about?
Right.
What's the end game?
Where we going with this? Like, you in a relationship? I'm in a relationship. What we talking? Nah, but okay.
But I will say I had a lot of friend girls. That's what I would call them. So I was cool talking
Okay.
with them. So yeah, I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she said you was a conversationist. So.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yes, I was
saying.
talking.
And typically, like those brainy conversations, those deep conversations, you're gonna get more of that
Yeah.
with women and with men that are strong conversationalists. So that was his thing.
Yeah.
Banter, talking, kind of getting involved in whatever the latest things are. That was his thing.
Okay.
So how long did y'all date before y'all got married?
So what ended up happening was after I graduated, I ended up in a leadership development program for about 6 months in the state of North Carolina, and they placed me in Maryland. So now I'm in the DC metro area. And again, he and I just every 3-4 months, how you doing type thing, nothing serious at all.
Yeah.
Well, it was when I moved to Maryland, that's when I chose my own church for myself. I joined a Bible-believing, Bible-teaching church. I became filled with the Holy Spirit. So now my spiritual development is taking off, and I'm growing rapidly in the things of God. And it was at that time, after I had been up there probably about a year and a half. Of course, I'm not seeing anybody. He's not seeing anybody. And it was one of those things where one of those times where we called at that 4th or 5th month check-in, something just kind of clicked where it was like, we are really compatible. Like, this is easy. You know what I mean? Talking to you is easy.
Yeah.
And I think we just decided to make an adult decision and say, we should date. Because this makes a lot of compatibility type sense. And he had gotten to a place in his relationship with God where he was a part of a newer ministry. He was really active. And we noticed that our values were aligned. So even though we had never dated and all that other stuff, we knew what the hallmarks were of a successful relationship: compatibility, shared values, mutual teamwork and respect. And so we were just kind of like, so do we just keep like dating other people, or do we try this and see what happens? That's where we were. When that occurred, he made his declaration.
So yeah, I drove there on I said, I'm gonna come see you this weekend, and so I drove up to DC. And what I remember about that is,
Hold on, drove up to DC from where?
From Charlotte. I was working in Charlotte.
Right. These are important details.
Yeah. So a 6-hour drive. 6-hour drive. And what was funny about it, when you first go somewhere, like, you nervous. So y'all, now this is before navigation, so just MapQuest, printing out stuff, trying to,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
breaking all kind of whole paper while you're driving. And so I'm going the speed limit, and I just remember I was going across that bridge. I don't even know the name of the bridge, but the speed limit is 70. So I'm going like 70. I ain't trying to get no tickets, nothing. It's like I'm standing still. Nobody's going 70. I'm just like, I'm gonna cause an accident going the speed limit. So that's what just remember from driving up there. So I go to her branch because she was in banking at the time. And I drive up and I see this police tape. And I'm like, oh snap, like, am I at the right place? Like, and so I kind of park off to the side and I was like, hey, so what you doing? And so she was saying that she was in the branch. I think somebody tried to run through the ATM or something. So that's why all the police tape was up. And so I just walked in there with the flowers and met all her employees at the time. And so that was our first face-to-face meeting.
And you took flowers.
Yep, I did bring flowers.
Love that.
I did bring flowers.
That.
Now let me rewind a little bit here.
Okay.
Because now both of you answered the question, but I said I wasn't going, but this is my podcast, so I gotta do my due diligence.
Yes.
My brother.
Yes.
Now I understand you had friend girls and that you were conversationalist. I get that. Now your 3 to 4 month check-in with Brandy, was there in your mind? Was there something as to why you was checking in? Like, okay, was you had to have a feeling or inclination? We all know, like, I've had friend girls too.
Right.
But there's also some that is in one category, and there's some that's in the wifey category, of potential wifey category. So, like, was that check-in to kind of see, is there still a chance?
Yes, because like you said, there's different categories.
Yep.
And as you get older, like, the need to just date randomly, that should kind of go away.
Right.
You should be fine-tuning towards, I would marry this person.
Right.
Because you too old for that by now. Like,
Right.
I mean, like, you really are. Like, you graduated from school, you're working. Like, the next step is kind of marriage. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. And so this whole lot. It's real easy to filter when you know the end
Right.
game. And so through our conversations, I knew, hey, she's single now, and I'm single now. So you still keep track. You
That's
know,
what
you
the chick-
ask
Yeah.
broadly, but you're trying to hear certain answers.
See, so now in today's culture, we ain't got to do all that. We just look on Facebook.
Right. We can see what your status is.
Yeah, that's right. She broke up. Oh,
She broke
hey,
up, yeah.
DMs. I'm in the DMs. I'm sliding right now. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, so that's how. So I did know that the pathway was clear,
Gotcha.
and I had a pretty good shot, and so I shot my shot.
Because at some point those conversations started to change. Those 3 to 4 month check-ins.
Yes, because they were long conversations.
There were long
but they were
conversations. And over time, they got longer and they got more like life
right.
conversations. And that's where I was able to figure out what his goals were. I knew he wanted to be a father. He took that really seriously. He wanted a family. I learned more about his parents' relationship and how they had navigated together and were very close friends. And so it became one of those things where, like I said, over time, you're just kind of like, well, I know what in my mind a successful marriage would take. And I was raised that the best couples are friends. They are good, close friends.
Right.
And so because I came up in that environment, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this dude is like a good friend. And so I was like, I just don't want to like miss out on that opportunity where we don't even date each other to kind of see what would happen. And then we end up with a situation where, I mean, yeah, it works, but I always look at relationships like a stoplight. There's red, yellow, and green. My goal was green. You can make it work with what I call a high yellow, like we're headed towards green. But there's just more tension and stress in a relationship like that because there's less compatibility. It's not going to flow as easily. So as a friend and as somebody that I just communed with and had conversations with, he was green. And you don't run into that many people in life that are green.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer once we got to a place where we were both mature enough. And for me, it was a big deal. At that point in my life especially, I'm sold out to God. You got to really love God or else my relationship with him is going to really get on your nerves. You know what I mean? And so once I knew that like his relationship with God is a real one, he got his own thing with God. He ain't worrying about what me and God over here doing. That's when I was just like, okay, well, yeah.
And that's what was cool. Whenever I would go see her, I was going to her church too, and that's actually where I received speaking in tongues. That's when I got filled with the Spirit, was at her church. So it was just awesome because I had never heard of that. We was the family that went once a year late. You know, you standing there waiting for that break in the music. So I didn't go to church growing up. So this was a later thing.
Now this church is in Maryland. Okay, so did you move to Maryland?
No,
He never did. The whole time that we dated each other,
From
he
Charlotte
was
to
in
Maryland.
Charlotte and I was in Maryland.
Oh, wow.
And when we started dating each other,
it was that March. So I came February, and then she surprised me and drove down. A friend of mine was getting married, and she attended that wedding with me. And so that's when we became official. So that was the tail end of March.
Had to be
whatever.
it be the weddings, man.
see,
Listen, don't take nobody to a wedding if you ain't ready to get married.
That's
If you
definitely
dating-
true. That is
If
definitely
you
true.
dating and you take somebody to a wedding, you might as well go ahead and get a ring.
but see, here's the thing. I did that because this is something that I would like to encourage women to remember. From a male perspective, there is a lot of pursuit. There's a lot of putting yourself out there that a man has to do. And in our situation, I knew that his commitment to pursuing me was going to be more challenging than the average commitment. Number one, I live 7 hours away from you. Number two, I'm active in the ministry. I'm not going to be driving down on the weekend to visit and all this other stuff. I'm fully committed to what I'm doing with Jesus. And I'm trusting him that whatever it is that I'm supposed to have, that it's going to line up. So if you're the right guy, then this will line up. But I wasn't silly enough to think that I wasn't going to have to do something to make it clear that I was committed to.
Right.
And so that's the reason why when he came up there in February and surprises me on my job with flowers, and he's going and he's talking to the different women in my branch and just introducing himself and just treating me with such respect and kindness, I was like, well, God, what can I do to show him that I'm committed as well, since I'm not going to be able to be driving all over and all this other stuff. There will probably be challenges to a more long distance relationship like this. And he had been mentioning how his best friend was getting married. And when I found out about that, I can't remember, some kind of sneaky way, I got in touch with his best friend, let him know that I was coming to the wedding, asked him where the wedding was, and I showed up at the wedding. So he didn't know that I was coming. But that was my way of saying I'm committed to. If you're committed to driving all over the world and trying to figure out how we can make this work long distance, I'm committed to.
Wow.
That's big.
Matter of fact, it was the rehearsal dinner. So she was even locked in there at the beginning.
Oh, wow.
It was the rehearsal dinner. So like she said, because she was working in the ministry, she wasn't able to come see me. So 1 to 2 times, probably at least 2 times a month, I was driving up there. So that was from March all the way up to November. I'll never forget, she had made, I guess she cooked for Thanksgiving, and we was eating at her condo, and I was just like, I remember that night, and I was just like, I'm tired. Like I was just like, I love you, but I think I probably can't see you till like February. Like I was done with the drive. Like I was tired, and not giving her an ultimatum, but just like knowing like myself, like I need a break from this. Like this is a lot of driving.
But I like that though, because a lot of people say marriage is 50-50. I believe what you guys are describing right now is what I call 100-100.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you and big ups to you, Brandy, because so many women like to be on the receiving end, right? And they'll get and not replicate a lot of times. So you like, hey man, if you gonna travel, I can travel. So that's big.
Right.
That was big.
Yeah, and she's right. Like men, because we're the pursuers, we get shot down a lot.
Yep.
So it would be nice to realize, like, all right, that landed. You know what I'm saying? Just to know, like, okay, that worked. Okay.
And so what happened was, after he kind of hit the wall as far as exhaustion, I saw it in him. And so I said, well, God, I said, if this is what we're supposed to do, if we're supposed to be together, then you're going to make this all work together. He and I started talking about marriage casually, around just making sure that we understood where we stood with that. What were the different things that we wanted? And a lot of that stuff is in this book. We started having these types of conversations, the types of things that are in this book. And once I could tell that we wanted to be married, I said, okay, well then what I'm going to do is go to my pastor. I said, because my pastor will shut this down. Like if this is not what it's supposed to be, my pastor will shut this down. I had a meeting with my pastor, and I did not try to do anything cute and make it seem like I'm just moving for my job only. I didn't play no games. I said, look, I'm going to look for another job, but the reason why I'm looking for another job is because there's this guy that I'm dating, and I told him everything. He said, you have my blessing.
Wow.
He said, you can go.
Praise God.
And so I applied for another job. I got it. In December, I relocated to Winston-Salem, North Carolina now. So he's in Charlotte. I'm in Winston-Salem. And then in that February, that was when he proposed to me. And by October, we were married.
I bought the ring, I think, in December. Like I was sitting in my father's house, and I was just like, it is so funny because people say, when did you know that you was going to marry? Like I was literally sitting there, and I was just like, I don't think she'd ever leave me. Like she loves me. And so that was...
Because she moved.
Well, not even just, because and then from the conversation, just knowing her. I was just like, I know what kind of person she is. She loves me. She'll never leave me. And I was just like, well, then that's who you're supposed to marry.
So what was that time frame?
That was in December. So it was, so we got married in 2006.
Yeah.
So it was February 2005 where we got engaged. And then,
I moved down. I guess that must have been December of... No.
I
moved in December
February
2005.
That's right.
Yeah.
So February 2006, we got engaged. We were married in October 2006.
So you dated how long? You dated for how long?
We only dated about a year.
A year?
About a year.
And we were engaged about maybe 10 months.
So got married within 2 years, and been married for how long?
18 years. It'll be 19 years this October.
I'm gonna be honest, man. These guests that we have on our show, they are, but they're not helping me out with my case at all. So let me tell y'all this. Like I'm a firm, but now granted,
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm about to be very contradictory because I got married in like 2.5 years,
Okay.
and we're on year 9,
Okay.
and and we're going strong.
Amen.
But I just feel like people should take their time to because marriages are struggling so much right now, and they're getting married and not staying married, right? And so I've been saying that, of course you can't put a time limit on it. I've been asking couples, what do you think? How long do you think you should date in order to? And of course, if God has ordained it, and that's good. But I guess my caveat was like, you should take time. The things that cause divorce, you should take the time in the dating phase to kind of sort some of that out. Like, take time to see, how does this person handle money? How does this person handle setbacks and difficulties? Like, whenever it goes, like, what type of character comes out? I feel like, you can put on a facade for 2 years, and if you're not living together, 2 years is really like 10 months, right? You know what I mean? Because of the time that you spend together. And so, other couple that we had earlier, how many years did they date? Was it like about 2 years? And they've been married for 20.
Okay.
And so, mom's story, they only dated for 6 months and got married in 45 years. So it's like everybody just debunking my theory. So
I think what happens is, like you said, you can fake the funk for a while.
Yeah.
But I think some people don't ask the right questions. I think it's two things. I think they don't ask the right questions. Number two, they avoid when they had the answer. That ain't right. That ain't right.
That's not really you.
That ain't really
You
them.
wouldn't really do that.
And see, you just didn't accept it. You had your answer, but you didn't accept it.
Yeah.
And then 3, like, did you go to premarital counseling?
Yeah.
Like, are you willing to do that? Like, why can't you have a third party that don't have any stake in it, willing to ask you some questions and you be able to answer?
That's right. We did that.
Yeah.
We went through premarital counseling, and we got into all the things. We saw each other's credit reports. Like, there was we was not playing, hey, I worked in banking. I'm going to need to see that credit report. So, yeah, we did all the things. And we didn't play any games. No. We knew about any debts. I knew about his student loan. Like, we made sure that we knew what all is involved with you. You know what I'm saying? That way we don't surprise each other later with anything. Right. But where it concerns the timing part, I hear where you're coming from. I think it's less about timing, and I think it is more about, number one, paying attention to red flags. And when you see them, stop lying to yourself and telling yourself that you did not see what you saw.
Right.
You saw it.
Yeah.
That was real. That should be addressed.
Right.
And don't, for the sake of your biological clock and whatever else you got going on with you, just override what you see as issues. Right. And you're not just marrying a person, you're marrying their family.
That's true.
So you could love someone all day long, but if you cannot get along with their family and there's all this stress coming from the family side of it, then you might just need to go ahead and just back off. I think that what people do, we assume we are stronger than we really are. We are not that strong.
Right.
And so don't intentionally sign yourself up for a lot of foolishness thinking you about to be this super Christian. You about to be real strong, because the strength of the Lord and all this other stuff. No. It's going to be like a drippy faucet every day. And what you are struggling with in just the dating season, please believe that's about to multiply by 20 once you get married. And so I think that's the issue. I think it's less time and more that people see something and they try to convince themselves they don't see what they see.
Because our fleshly desires make you ignore them red flags.
Because, trust me, that stuff comes up. How does he talk to the waitress? How does he talk to the person that parks the car? Does he acknowledge people that he doesn't know? Or does he just walk past people unless you somebody? You can get in enough environments with someone to kind of see how they roll, how he treat his mama.
Right.
How does he treat the elders in his family? How does he treat children? Are they just kind of like, you know what I mean? Or is he like, hey, you know, let me help you when they drop something. You can pick up
Right.
stuff, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But a lot of times, like I said, we convince ourselves we didn't see what we saw. And other times people will literally tell us out of their mouths who they are. And we'll say, you don't mean that.
Right.
I'm like, oh, for real? That's how I take it. When you say something, I'm taking it as,
That-
okay.
And just yesterday, I was talking to a young man. He's 32 years old. He was in a relationship for 9 years, and he just got out of the relationship. And because he said she was controlling, I said, "Well, did you not see those flags prior to 9 years?"
Right.
And
He was married.
no, they never
Just
got married.
Just relationship.
And see, to me, you don't invest that kind of time.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
I've never believed in that.
Yeah.
I'm not invested 9 years.
No.
Not having that.
She told me I had 2. I think when we had kind of joked about it later, I was just like, now, how long could I have strung this out?
Yeah, he asked me. He was like,
Oh.
so now we're married and stuff. He was like, how long could I have tried to date you and stuff like that? I was like, oh no, you was on the clock 2 years. You gonna know within 2 years whether or not you want me.
My wife gave me an ultimatum. Babe, you know you gave me an ultimatum. And she said, same thing you said is what she said. 2 years, you should know.
Yeah.
You should know whether or not you want to marry me or not. Well, I'm married, so I guess I knew.
Yeah.
So Melvin, I'd like to ask you, how did you meet Javon?
Church. Met her at a church.
And how did you know
Now,
she was the one?
I don't want to tell my story.
Why?
Because I want her to be present.
Okay.
Okay.
When
That's
we do, only because we have 2 different stories. And so, babe, I'm gonna wait for you to come on the podcast, and then we'll give our story. But I will say, you know, I met her at church, at church, and that's where we started, you know, to date or whatever. And yeah, I ain't gonna get too much into it because I'm gonna say that for when she comes on. But
Very respectful.
yeah, because it's a funny story. I mean, you know, especially when she tells her side, because my side is totally different than hers.
Yeah.
But let me ask y'all this real quick, because I didn't hear it, or maybe I overlooked it or whatever. How much time lapsed in between graduating from college to when you started to date?
That was about 3 years.
Wow.
Good, great. So the
3
3
years.
to 4 month conversation lasted for 3 years.
Wow.
Both of y'all knew y'all wanted each other in college. I don't know why y'all acted like that. Both of y'all knew y'all wanted each other in college.
I gotta be honest though, it wasn't like that.
Because I came out
really
December of
wasn't.
2002. So that means she came out
May of 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll tell you this. When I first met him, and I tell him this all the time, the first thing that attracted me to him was his confidence. He was very confident. He was calm and confident. Not like bravado type confident, but just I am who I am type confident. And one of the reasons why that really stood out to me was I had not met many men that were just very comfortable in their own skin like that. Like they're just not trying to do or be anything for anyone. That's one thing I can still say about Jeff to this day. You could be the CEO of the company, you could be the janitor. He is the exact same person at all times with all people. He's just comfortable
Yes,
in his
yeah.
own skin.
That's my husband.
And so, yeah, and that made me feel safer, if that makes any sense,
Yeah.
around him. And so that is something that I noticed. I also noticed right away, even in college, that he was into family. And that's not something that you really pick up on somebody that's in their early 20s. You know what I mean? So that stood out to me.
And that's a very important aspect for marriage too. Yep. On both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the types of things that stood out. But it was not like that. I never looked at him and knew that I knew that's my husband. What I knew was this could work. That I knew right away at the very beginning, this could work.
Now, I will say this about my meeting my wife, and she'll agree to this. This is one part of the story that we agree on, is that, you know, the church that I met her at, I had just, you know, recently joined. I was probably there maybe 6 months. I can't remember, but maybe 4 or 5 months, something like that. And at the time, I was like really trying to get my life together. You know what I mean? I've been a Christian all my life, but at the same time, you know, you have those.
Yeah.
So I was at a point where like I came to the church and I was really like just focusing on me. It's a bunch of women at that church, a bunch of women at the church, but I was really like, wasn't paying attention to nobody for real, like just trying to get myself together. I would, praise, worship, whatever, and that attracted her. It's kind of the same thing you said about Jeff, So when she, and I guess her past experience was the next person that she was involved with was going to be her husband, and she wanted it to be somebody who she knew was strong in the word and couldn't be manipulated by the word. And so that is one thing that attracted her to me. But to the testimony and to help couples out there, when you get yourself
That's right.
together, you can't be ready for somebody else if you yourself ain't ready.
That's exactly right.
And so I was in a season of getting myself together, and that's how kind of, I wasn't looking,
Right.
and it came.
That's right.
And so I think sometimes, people today, we so busy searching, so busy looking,
Right.
that
You ain't fixing yourself.
you ain't fixing yourself, and you get into so many different mishaps. And then you end up taking all that baggage into whatever relationship you do finally get into. But I think we can save a lot of time just by getting ourselves, together.
That's exactly right. And to tag on to what you said, I don't even know if you know this, but about 3 weeks before he came up to Maryland to kind of make his declaration that, like, I want to date you. This is something more than friendship for me. I had gotten to a place where I audibly, out loud, I remember when I was sitting on my bed, I said to God, well, God, I said, I believe that you will want me to marry and have children. I said, but if you don't, I said, I want you to know I am completely okay with whatever the plan is. I said, whatever the plan is, I'm completely okay. And in 3 weeks, here he comes showing up on my job with flowers.
That was your confirmation?
I was like, okay. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you do need to focus on yourself.
Absolutely.
To the extent that you're willing to give up your entire plan to God.
Right.
Because when it's like that, then he will put something together that you couldn't put together on your own.
And why do you think, because MJ and I had this conversation on one of the podcasts, he don't believe that if a person's 60 plus, he don't believe they'll get married. And I told him,
I said that the probability, I ain't said they're not going to get married. I said if they're 60, I said the chances are they're probably not going to get married.
and I told him that they was waiting on the Lord.
Yeah.
And I said, they waiting for the Lord to get the guy together, the man together, especially the women.
Yeah.
And he said, good Lord, if they ain't got that, if the Lord, how you just say?
I said if they 50, 60 years old and they ain't got themselves together by now, they ain't getting it together.
And so when you talking about like first people married, or you talking about spouses done passed away and then they get together? You talking which ones you talking about?
First time
Absolutely.
married, never been married
Oh, wow.
before.
That's
And we have men in our church that never been married, as well as women in our church never been married. And we have women that desire to be married, and they are praying and believing God, and they're not just sitting there, as he was trying to say, they don't need to be sitting there waiting. I said, no, they're not sitting, but they are praying and believing and waiting in faith, and I said, they just continue to have that faith to believe God will bless them with their Boaz.
Yeah.
And continue. This was my thing. When God see your heart is toward Him, and you, like you say, you had sold out, and that's the way it was with me. I was completely sold out.
Yeah.
Whatever, God, your will for my life. And when Melvin came on the scene, it was with the prayers, with the dreams, and I just knew. And so with these people that's desiring,
Yeah.
that when God see their heart, that is toward Him more so than anything else, and that's when I believe the Boaz will come on the scene. And then with the men, see, we know the men can get married if they want to.
Right.
They're being selfish. They're keeping themselves. That's what I say. I think they're being just selfish. What do you think, Jeff?
I think when you're older like that, I think it'd be harder just because you've built so much, and not that you wouldn't want to share it, but just you think about your posterity. So like when you go on to be with the Lord, and now it's time to split up stuff. Well, I mean, is it really gonna go to somebody from her family? I mean, I just met them. That's just me. What I think about with more advanced
Why
couples.
men don't want to get married at 60 plus, 55 and plus, just don't want to get married.
Yeah.
And you think they don't want to leave their prosperity to somebody else?
I just think there's just more stuff. I think.
I don't want to offend nobody. But to his point, you've lived life by yourself. And, you know, we're not in the Bible days, so if you're 60, you have lived longer than you're probably going to live after, right? Mm-hmm. And you've lived most of that time by yourself. That's a big adjustment, man, you know, at that age. And I'm not saying, like you said, I'm not saying that it's not possible. I think it is. And everybody that's listening, I love each and every last one of you. However, I just believe that, and you said, you know, they have faith and they're waiting. Well, the Bible say faith without works is dead. Like, what work? You got to put some type of, because if you in faith and you're 60 and it hasn't happened yet, I just don't believe that, you know, God.
I think it can. I agree with you that it can definitely happen. I believe it can happen. But I also think that oftentimes those of us who are friends of individuals in that situation, we haven't seen them in enough scenarios to get them some real feedback. So, for example,
as far as why they're not, right? Yeah.
I was with one of my friends, and she's single, and there was a guy that came across like he was trying to talk to her very respectfully. He wasn't a Rudy Poo. This isn't an unattractive man that's trying to come sideways. None of that. But she appeared very closed off. And like to the point where I was like, but you believe in God for a husband. Why are you not giving any signs that this dude should try to talk to you at all? I'm thinking that, and I'm just your girl,
Right.
you know? And so after this situation happened, I found a way to kindly start a conversation around that exchange that I had just witnessed. And I said, you know, as a man, I said, they are having to put themselves out there quite a bit. I said, and they don't really have a way to know for sure when they first meet you whether or not you're interested or not. I said, but if you are, I said, you're going to have to do better than that to make it clear that you're interested or that you might possibly be interested.
Right.
I said, because what I just witnessed said, don't talk to me. And I said, but you done told me that you're believing God for a husband. And I'm looking at this dude. He's not unattractive. Yeah. He's well dressed. We're at church. Other people in this ministry are treating this man with respect. He's not random Joe, back pew fella. Like, this is somebody, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's at least kind of like, who are you? You know what I mean? And so I told her, I said, everything about that exchange said, don't talk to me. I said, and I'm telling you, as somebody who wants to be married, you're going to have to do better than that. I said, you don't have to be overly bubbly and friendly. I know that's not really your personality and temperament. I said, but something about you has to say, I am open.
Right.
I am open to this conversation. I am open to you approaching me. I said, you walk fast. I said, stop walking so fast. Slow down when you walk so that if somebody want to come alongside you, they can get next to you. I said, you got to act like you want to be married.
That is true. Because if you're walking too fast, I'm not even going to say nothing to you because it looks like you got somewhere to be.
You're trying to get away.
Something urgent is going on. And so these are the kinds of things where as friends, we can help our friends. And I'm not saying that everybody that's at those ages isn't doing all the right things. They could be doing all the right things, and for whatever reason, it's not their time and it's not their season. But I also think that those of us who are friends, we should, when we see stuff, when you see something, say something. Instead of just being like, and then we don't say anything to them. Like, no, you saying you want to be married. Well, let me tell you what, you won't be married acting like you don't want any man to ever talk to you.
So Mama, are you helping your friends that's 60 plus that hasn't been married? Are you helping them with their
I find that they don't want you to tell them anything because I have shared with them what I saw, and it was like they didn't see it my way. And so this is a question that Pastor Gore had said years ago. This was about work. Would you hire yourself? Then I asked someone recently, would you marry yourself? And I said, the habits you got, what you do and the way you act, would you want that same partner? And they were like, yeah. I said, you got to be kidding.
Right.
Because what I know about this person, I wouldn't marry you. And I wouldn't even offer no one else to marry you because of what I see myself. So what you got to think about who you are and what you bring to the table.
That's right.
And how that person will perceive you. You know, are you out of debt? Are you neat? Are you honest? Are you a woman of integrity? All these things, you know, you have to ask yourself.
Go ahead.
I was, what you were talking about, like as far as like being with yourself. I remember when my mom passed away. I asked my dad. I was talking to my father. I was just like, "Look, Mama did an excellent job. She was an excellent wife. You were an excellent husband. I appreciate everything you did for me. But Pop, look, if you want to get remarried, do you, man?"
Yeah.
And he was just like, I'll never forget this. He was like, "Boy, I loved your mama, but I ain't gonna have a woman tell me what to do no more." Like, I mean, he was just, you know, he was past that stage. And that's the thing, like, when you're talking about when you get to the age, like, are you willing for somebody to tell you no and be okay?
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, I just told you that you couldn't borrow my pen and you in a tizzy.
That's it.
So you can't, you're not ready for that. If you're not willing to be told no, you can't be married.
Right.
And so I asked Mom, you know, when she brought that up about like, are they divorced, widowed?
Yeah, that matters.
And I, you know, that's one. But if they've never been married, I honestly think that, and you're that age, I think you need to evaluate yourself. Now the men, for sure, they don't want to be married.
Right, they don't want to.
Yeah, if they 60 years old and they married, that's because that's their choice.
And because they're selfish.
Yes,
That's right.
they are.
Selfish.
And marriage is not for selfish people.
It is not.
It's
It's
for
not.
selfish. But if you are a female and you desire to be married and you're not, then you just have to evaluate yourself and honestly ask yourself, past relationships, what was the ending factor? What part did you play in it? Not saying that you was the reason, but what part did you play in it? What experience? What did you learn from the experience? Are you open? Do you have standards that you need to lower to you know to entertain some people? Because Boaz probably could have introduced himself to you, and you closed them off. So yeah, those are.
And it's like what you mentioned too, like being with yourself. Do you meet your own standards?
Yeah.
You may want him to be this, but you ain't that.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that, like we said, I just think it's a lot more difficult at that age. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it's a lot difficult. And shout out to the people that's 60 and still, you know,
Wanting to.
yeah, man, because you know, hey, we all have desires and everything, so I understand.
Cindy Trim got married at 60 or either 62. You know Cindy Trim?
Who?
Cindy Trim.
No,
Yeah.
that's 62.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And that was her first time, or was she remarried?
It was
Okay,
her first time.
okay.
And one thing I talk about in the book as well is just making sure that we're not being selfish, that we're walking in humility, that we're being what we are desiring in others. So there's a lot of work to do on the front end before we start pursuing marriage, because marriage is a ministry. People don't look at it as that. A lot of people look at what they will be gaining in a marriage, but it is a ministry. When you say, I want to be married, you are signing up to serve someone for life.
Yes, that's good. Brenda.
Period.
That's good.
And if you don't view it that way, then hold, please, and don't go there. If you're viewing it as, he's going to make me secure, he's going to put me in circles that I can't currently run in, she's going to make me look fly because she's this and she's that. If that's how you looking at this, you're going about it all wrong. That's not marriage God's way. And really the only way you're going to make that thing last for real is to do it God's way.
Okay, Brenda, question. How can you tell the audience, how can they make their marriage amazing for the ones married that may not be amazing? What can you and Jeff share with the audience to have an amazing marriage?
The first thing that I recommend is you're going to have to get alone with God and pursue your own individual relationship with Him and healing. Everybody's got something that was sewn off in there that can cause problems in relationships with other people. And oftentimes we don't address it. What we do is medicate it, and we try to use our spouse like their medicine. You're going to solve for the loneliness that I feel. You're going to solve for the lack of security that I feel. You're going to solve for the lack of maybe even esteem and self-worth that I feel, because you're here, you're going to make these things better. I would say if you want to make your marriage amazing, you need to get along with God and truly bunker down, stop worrying about your spouse, and get with God and let him start uprooting, revealing things to you about yourself. There are instances where people are married to individuals who are just a piece of work and just a mess. But hopefully, if you would do things like premarital counseling and reading books like this, you can avoid that kind of foolishness. But if you find yourself in that situation, I'm not really speaking to that, right? If you just made a very poor decision, put yourself into all of these things, overrode all of these red flags, that's not, I got different advice for that. I'm talking about the person who you are with a reasonable person. You are with a reasonable person, and you want it to be amazing, and yet it's not. I'm telling you that the majority of what we need to do is get along with God. God tells us in Isaiah 54, the Lord your God is your husband. And oftentimes what we do is we start looking to that spousal relationship to fulfill something that it cannot.
That's right.
And the reason why it's not amazing is because we're pulling on each other for things that we can't give one another. And so we tire each other out. We become a burden, an unnecessary burden to one another. However, when you get along with God and you let him start revealing to you lies that you may have swallowed years ago, things, residue that's still hanging out on the inside of you from past relationships. When you allow him to handle those things and address those things, you become amazing. You become somebody that you don't have to say it the right way. I heard your heart.
Yes, that's good.
You didn't use the right tone. You kind of came at me sideways with this, but I've already decided that I love you and you love me. I'm going to see what were you trying to say. And I'm just going to be mature and go towards that and not worry about the other stuff. That's who you become when you're healed and when you're whole. So when you truly want a marriage to be amazing, you have to let God get on the inside and let him start uprooting and start pulling stuff up, and then let him fill you. If we allow him to fill us, I promise you, we will start exhibiting behaviors that we didn't even know we had in us. We will have patience that we didn't even know we had. We will have kind things to say at times where old you would have went left with that same situation. And so that is really the crux of marriage being amazing. You cannot override your relationship with God. Whether you're single, whether you're married, it doesn't matter. It's him rooting within us. It's him and his spirit living actively within us. And it's us looking to him as our source. That will make us amazing. And then we can create an amazing marriage.
And I would say with the leaving and cleaving. So, and I'll give this as an example. Like, let's say you talk to your mom about a lot of stuff. So if you're telling her something and she's just like, yeah, you should be able to do that. You should be able to do that. And then you talk to your dad, like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah. But then when you go and you talk to your wife and you hear no, well, you got, and put that in air quotes, you got 2 yeses already. So why I got 2 yeses and now I'm hearing a no? But it's because you opened up something and made it like a primary vote, and it wasn't. It was just 2 people that should have been making that decision, not 4.
Right.
So you just gotta watch keeping stuff like in house. Because now my mother-in-law was awesome. Like, she did a good job of, like, even sometimes she'd be like, my mom ain't gonna tell you that. Like, that's between you and your husband. That's between you and your wife. Like, she don't go there. But there's some parents just because they love their child. Which, I mean, that's okay. But they don't know. You, as a married person, you got to realize there is opinion. And then that's just kind of outside stuff. Like, that main conversation, that main decision has to come between the man and the woman. And the more you keep in house, the less you got to worry about that. And forgiveness. If I go tell my dad what Brandy might have done, like, and then I get over it. But he ain't get over it. Right. I remember what she did. So now you done sow that seed of unforgiveness because you let it go, but they hadn't let it go.
Right,
but
right.
they probably shouldn't even heard about it.
Right. Exactly.
You should have kept that to yourself, but just keep it in house and just deal with your mate. That's who you marry, and remind your children of that too. Be like, I love y'all, but I'm married to her.
Okay, another question I like to ask. Now, this is a little different. I notice a lot of couples, the man is not holding the wife's hand. They're not affectionate, like in public, like they don't want to, like MJ was saying earlier, they look at, that was on the other podcast, they look like they don't like each other. So do you open the door for her? Are y'all holding hands? Are y'all romantic out as well?
Very, very. Like for me, it's even to the point where it bothers me how many couples in church I don't know are couples.
Right. They don't even sit beside each other.
I don't even, and I just randomly see them get in the car with each other one day after service, and I'm like, oh snap, y'all married? I've been going to this church over a decade. I didn't know y'all was married.
I just think
And
it's
so,
weird.
yeah, but it said we don't play that.
Yeah, one of the ushers has been there for years, and I told him about 2 Sundays ago, I said, I want to see you sit with your wife, and he laughed about it, and I said, I said, everybody don't know you married.
Yeah.
And some of the ladies I know that don't sit with their spouse because, they're in different positions. That's besides the point. There's
Exactly.
make room for you, because back in the day, we were told, like, if you're singing or, there wasn't enough room for the spouse. We understood that. That was then. This is a new generation now. You need
better
to
be there.
sit with your spouse because everybody don't know you married.
That's right. That's right.
No, that's true.
So when we talk about an amazing marriage, and please definitely not discredit anything you just said.
But yeah.
But definitely want to make sure I bring some things full circle for the audience that's listening, because sometimes hope nobody get offended by this, but I call some people, you just spiritually stupid. Like, or I call them dumb in the Lord. Like, you just dumb in the Lord. Like, you have to have, you can't be too
Spiritually minded.
to where you're no earthly good.
That's
right?
correct. That's exactly correct.
And so to like, the foundation has to be Christ, right? But then there are also some practical things, because you can be in a relationship, somebody sold out to God, you in church, but you ain't gave your husband no time, or you ain't gave your wife no quality time. Well, that marriage ain't gonna last. You know what I'm saying? Too much
right.
if you don't have a balance.
That's right.
And we've touched on a lot of things today. I looked up, ChatGPT, just asked, hey, give me 10 keys to a successful marriage.
Yeah,
we've touched
that's
on a
what's
lot.
in here, 10 of them.
We touched on a lot of them. Number one is communication.
Yep.
Number 2 is trust. Number 3 is mutual respect. Number 4 is quality time. Number 5 is conflict resolution. Number 6 is shared values and goals. Number 7, what we just talked about, physical and emotional intimacy.
Yep.
8, commitment. Number 9, forgiveness. And number 10, a growth mindset.
That's it.
Those things. And so when I say, I don't know why certain couples don't hold hands or don't, show. I mean, PDA is one thing. Like, I can understand why you don't do that. But, just holding, we walking in the mall or we walking somewhere, this is my wife. I'm holding her hand or whatever.
Right.
And I need everybody in here to know.
Yes,
That's right.
This is mine. Don't try it, because this is going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes when we talk about Christian people, men and women, things that some things can be borderline or not wholesome. But when you're married, right? When you're married, you have to cater to that individual's need.
Right.
And every
That's
marriage
right.
ain't gonna look the same. I get that,
right.
That's exactly right.
But if my wife likes to be physical and likes to, touch and stuff like that, I have to cater to that.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
I have to cater to that. And so I think that I want to ask you guys, this is like, so in addition, I'm sure you probably touch on in your book, which we're going to read for sure, is what practical things should some marriages apply to help build that type of amazing marriage?
Well, I know she had, it's almost like a reading list But the 5 love languages or whatever? It was
Yeah,
the 5?
the 5 love
Like, you need to realize what your love language is. And once you realize what it is, tell your partner so that they know. Like, mine is like works of service. And so I could be doing all this great stuff for her, but it ain't gonna miss.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna hit because hers is quality.
Yep. Yep.
Like, service is on there, but it ain't number one.
Right.
So it's just like when I'm giving, I'll put it like this: I could be giving 100% effort towards that, but it only counted for 60% because
Right.
it ain't because
Exactly.
it wasn't one of her
It
first
ain't
ones.
100
Yeah,
for
because it
her.
wasn't
Yep.
what she needed. So it's just like you gotta know what your love language is and let your partner know, and then go with that. Like you have to know,
Yeah.
and you need to let them know.
Yeah, like don't be selfish. Go with that.
Yeah. Right.
So my husband is a busy bee. He's moving. He's one of these people where when he wakes up in the morning, he's up,
Yeah.
ready to go. Me, I'm taking my time and all this other stuff. But what you have to do is decide, hey, I want to run. That's what I like. She want me to sit down somewhere. I'm going to sit down. And then what I do is be reasonable and know that I'm married to a busy bee. So I should not expect him to be able to do that for 5 hours.
Babe, you can go ahead and run now.
Right, right. Where I'm able to be like, okay, you did that a whole hour. Praise
Yeah.
the Lord. Now let me let you be free. You know what I mean? Like, just meet each other halfway and see the effort and
Yeah.
see the attempts and the love that's being
Yeah.
put in. But also practically speaking, I always tell people, you're not marrying their spirit man. You are marrying a man.
Yes. Yep.
And you're marrying a woman,
Yep.
period,
Yep.
dot.
Yep.
So you need to think about this in very natural terms. Do you like them?
Yes.
Not just when they are ministering
Right, right.
and the anointing is flowing and they seem all awesome. I'm just talking about regular, they just got out the car. Like, do you
Yeah.
like them?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And make sure that those are the types of things that you're checking on the front end. If you're already married, well then again, find out what one another's likes are, dislikes, and decide not to be selfish and to cater to the other individual. Then some basic things that you can do around an amazing marriage, natural, practical things. Establish laws in your house and be respectful and follow the laws. So when we first got married, we were asking each other, hey, is somebody of the opposite sex allowed to come over here? When they are, under what circumstances? What do we do with the friends that we had that were of the opposite sex? Like, we literally ran down all the stuff that could potentially bring some friction.
Yeah.
And once we define for ourselves, this is what goes at the Stover house, and this is what doesn't go at the Stover house. In 18 years, there has been no going back trying to say, well, I just feel like this particular circumstance right here. None of that. We said, this is the law around
Yeah.
here.
She took all my friends.
I did. The ones, that's what I was about to say, the ones that he had that were female friends that were like just good women, they my girls now.
Oh, okay.
They my girls. And so he still gets to see them from time to time, but that's my friend.
So you believe in keeping your enemies close?
No!
I'll just play.
But for real, like, I mean, literally one of my best friends was a female friend of his. And so I just came up in there and I was like, well, you my friend now.
Yeah.
You was a good woman. Stay a good woman and be my friend.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked. And we just parlayed it like that. And so, but we came up with rules. We was like, what could cause unnecessary stress?
Yeah.
I'm the type of person where I do not like drama. I do not like drama. So I am willing to sacrifice and do whatever I need to do to live a peaceful life.
Wow. Now, you guys brought up the 5 love language books. My wife made me read that when we was just dating. And, yeah, so,
I had to.
Yeah. You had to
We were just dating.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you. Now, no offense to nobody, but I got to ask this question. I got a question I need to ask you, Brandy. I just feel like there's a light skin mentality out here. But for women that's very attractive, like yourself, like my wife, this is my theory, is that coming up, they did not have to work as much for attention, for anything, right? A lot of things come easy as far as men and whatever the case may be. So how do you, or what was it that had you to transition? I ain't gonna say transition because I don't know your story. I don't know if you was ever that type. I'm just judging you from the outside.
Yeah.
Right. But to get to the submissive part, to the part where you're like, you took the drive down to say, hey, you know, he's not just gonna be the only one traveling. I'll do that too. Like, I feel like that's huge for women who may not have, you know, like you had to fight them off with a stick. You know, I don't need, like, it's probably with somebody in Maryland that, you know, that you could have been entertaining and like, I don't have to do this. So how does that psyche go and how do you switch that up practically?
I would say you have to be what you want. And do you want somebody who has grit, who has heart, somebody who can withstand things? Then you have to be what you want. And I believe that what changes up that mentality is when you realize that I'm pursuing this relationship with somebody, and yes, there's certain things that I'm wanting to gain from this relationship. Any logical person is expecting to gain something from the relationship. But when you realize that I'm signing myself up to, for better, for worse, richer for poor, for the rest of my life, be with and serve this person, your mindset should come out of that selfish mode, because what are you wanting?
Right.
What do you believe in God for? You know what I mean? Like, what are you wanting to show up and realize in your life?
Right.
You're going to have to be that.
Right.
And so humility is a part of it. Hey, maybe it never came easy to you, but trust me, the dudes that was checking for you, that's not the dude that's going to be standing next to you when you burying your mom.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's not that quality. And so when you want something that's quality, when you want something that is good and meaningful and valuable, then you humble yourself. And whether it ever came easy to you or not, what you had before was entertainment. What you're looking for now is a meaningful, impactful partnership. And so you're going to have to be what you're wanting. And I think that's what causes the mindset shift. Instead of thinking that, hey, it's just going to come easy to me. What came easy to you was that there were just people around to pursue you. There were people to take you somewhere. There was somebody to call. There was somebody to say some nice things. That sort of thing. That's not what we talking about.
Right. Because it come easy and it leaves easy.
That's exactly right.
But I think the transformation that you're talking about is what I call the process of coming from a princess to a queen, right? You know, princess gets served all the time. Queen not only gets served, but know how to serve.
Right? That's right.
So that's yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Mom?
Oh, this is good. I'm just I just wish Melvin was here to engage with us, but this is not his cup of tea.
Yeah. So
and I've told, and there's one thing that I noticed about my father, just from the men's idea, that it was so funny. All right, so I'm in high school, right? So I'm younger, and I would see my father, and I would see a good-looking woman walk by, and I'm looking. You know how men look. We be like, we all look at the same time. So I'm looking, and I'm noticing that he ain't looking, and that never missed me, because I'm just like, I mean, we ain't blind, Pop. Like, I know you seen her.
Right.
I saw her.
Right.
And so that's one thing I would remind husbands and guys. You see us. I work downtown. I see people all the time. But you don't stare.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not blind.
Right.
But you don't stare.
You can admire beauty.
That's right.
Yeah, but you can just move on.
You just move on.
Yeah.
Like, you got to
Don't
think about
entertain
what
it.
you got at home, and and that helps to keep your mind from wandering. You just. It's like you see, but you don't see. You see, you don't stare. I said there's a difference.
Yeah.
I
There's a difference
remember
between
being at
seeing
the
and
beach.
staring.
I don't know if you was with us, MJ. This was so funny. He had brought up before. We was so here we on the beach. Oh no, we actually at the beach, but we walk on the sidewalk, and this guy comes, and he just have on his trunks, and he's a bodybuilder, right?
Oh, wow.
So he just go right in front of us, and I'm like, woo, because he was like. all in our face. So I was like, I didn't mean it like that, Melvin. I said, but he was all in our face.
What you mean it like?
That thing was so funny. He didn't let it live it down. He said, you ain't never seen me say no woo when I see women go by. And I said, well, Melvin, it just caught me off guard. But you can admire beauty, but you don't have to entertain it.
That's right. That's right. And that's a part of like respect as well.
Yeah.
You know, those are the types of things that you have to keep paramount in a relationship. You have to figure out, I give some ideas in the book. What are you going to do so that your spouse is just flat out special?
Yeah.
They're not the same as everybody
Right.
else.
Yeah.
What's going to happen other than sex?
Yeah.
Because we know that.
Yeah.
What is going to happen that is demonstrative that makes them different
Yeah.
from everybody else of the opposite sex that you engage with? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we as men, I know we talked a lot about women, but we as men, you know, I think our thing is to step into that level of maturity, right? Because, I mean, how many women, you know, can you deal with? I got a couple of homies that, you know, now that I'm, you know, trying to get like, bro, we 40, bro. Like, we 40.
you doing?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, you know, you got to settle down, you know, right? But, you know, but sometimes maturity never really kicks in. And so to your point, you know, yeah, you're going to see women. I mean, there's always one that's going to look better. That's going to, you know, but that grass is greener on the other side. My daddy told me that it is green on the other side, but it's AstroTurf. He said, so when you put the effort into a marriage, like I just, you know, I'm still working and I'm still maturing at it, you know, still trying to work on myself. But the time that I've put in, now I say this, sometimes I can talk to people and it may seem like I'm against marriage, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just real about it. And what I'm real about is that it's hard work and that you have to be dedicated to putting in that hard work, right? You know, I'm a basketball coach. Winning the state championship ain't hard, but I'll tell anybody, it's hard work to get to that championship, right? You know what I'm saying? But if you want to get there, this is what you're going to have to do.
Yeah.
And so you got to put in the work. And so I'm saying all that to say this is that, you know, when you get to the point of, like, for me, I only got one. My wife is the only one I got energy for.
Yeah.
Because I'm putting so much into
You're
that.
smart. You're doing it the right way.
I ain't got time for, you know, so yeah, I see a fine woman walk by and I look, man, she fine, but that one probably got 1,000,001 issues that I ain't got time to deal with. I got one at home that I got all my energy and effort put into. And so I think we just, you know, men have to mature, and I think women, you know, definitely have to mature in a sense too, as far as when we was talking about this being submissive and being willing to work and not being the receiver all the time or whatever the case may be. You have to meet each other halfway, and it ain't 50-50, it's 100-100.
That's right.
And once you get that person, but once again, do your due diligence and make sure that person is worth getting your 100.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And if we're both giving that, then you know you're gonna be fine. Because on the day that I'm 70, you can be the 30.
Right. Right.
On the day that you 30, I can be the 70.
Right.
So I think that is, you know, that is what marriage is about. And I definitely appreciate you guys coming today, man. I think this was awesome, man. You
That's fine.
people, where can they get the book?
They can go to Amazon.com or you can go to BrandyStover.com. We've got a bookstore tab and you'll be able to find that. And if you have some young people, we're getting ready to go into a new school year. Anyone that's in that middle grade section, kind of like that 8 to 11, that's the age I'm targeting. Because they deal with a lot of feelings, big feelings stuff start popping off when you go from elementary to middle school.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
And
it's a change.
I'm going to bring you back on another podcast. You know, I do the culture of education.
Yeah.
And so we can talk about that. I worked in elementary, middle, and high school, so we can talk about that. But people, marriage is amazing. I tell people that marriage is a great thing, but you have to work to get to that amazing part. It don't just I say I do and it's gonna be amazing.
That's exactly
as soon as you
right.
say I do, the devil is gonna say I'm coming.
That's right. He has a war.
He's waiting
Specifically designed for marriages.
for marriages.
And I think that's why, you know, I took it seriously in the word when it's just like, you know, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. You know, don't let nothing don't let anything. So that means
Right.
stuff's gonna try.
Right, right.
Let no man
Right.
put asunder. That means
Right.
people are gonna try you.
Right, right.
Like you said, and then we didn't really get into this, but you know, if you've got friend girls that don't know how to act around you, you better
Right.
get rid of them.
Get rid of them.
If you got male friends that they don't know how to,
Get rid of
them.
Run.
And if
Right.
you're not excited to meet this person, if you're not excited for this to be your dude, you out.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a oneness. This
Yeah.
is not, we're not shoulder to shoulder. We're inside of each other.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
Yeah.
so that's the way that you
You're
have
one.
to think about your
Yeah.
other relationships.
Absolutely. So I pray and believe that you guys received a lot from this. I pray that it blessed your heart and that it'll bless your your marriage, excuse me, or your relationship or your future marriages. And please, once again, like, share, subscribe, and comment on this podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you all for coming to Stovers, man. Give them a
Absolutely.
hand.
Anytime. Anytime.
Absolutely. And so please be on the lookout for more content to come your way. As always, until next time, God bless.
We love you.
Coach and the coach, 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 coach and the coach.